Hi, this is Sandi Maki, and it's time for a little bit of heavy breathing just before midnight. I was pondering something today, so I thought I would share the pondering with you. I was pondering goal setting in a sense, but not really goal setting. I was thinking about the things that we do and the things that we say, both to ourselves and others, to either bring things into our life or keep things out of our life. And a specific example of this is traveling. You know, when we set goals or when we make lists of what's your wildest, craziest aspiration, what would you put down on the list? One of the things that makes my list quite frequently is an airplane. And the reason an airplane makes my list is because I would like to have vacation retreat homes all over the world. And one of my social programming kind of things is, well, you have to have a certain amount of income to have these houses, and if you have the houses, then you need some way to get to the houses. And until I am business partners with Richard Branson and have my own airline, I suppose I should think about a plane to get to these places. Well, when I've gone through this activity in the past, and this relates to my little discussion that I did on setting goals and how things are kind of arbitrary. When I put an airplane on my list, a part of me just doesn't feel like it's real, and it doesn't feel like it's attainable right now. And vacation homes, I don't even know where I would pick for my first vacation home. Probably because I don't necessarily enjoy going to the same place over and over again. One of the things that I really enjoy is exploring new places. So I suppose the plane still fits because it'll get me where I want to go. The last year I did a pretty substantial amount of traveling. And I took commercial flights everywhere that I went. So if I look at my life, and one of my goals is to have an airplane so I can get where I want to go, and I look at the last year of my life, I took an airplane where I wanted to go. It kind of created this picture in my head that I guess having an airplane just isn't relevant to me quite yet. And so often when I try to put up goals and aspirations, and especially, the new year and what are your intentions, blah, 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 I think I feel pressured to come up with things. I am sure if I opened a branch of my business in another state and I needed to travel there on a frequent basis, then an airplane would become relevant. And probably at the point where I decided that an airplane would be a relevant expense, I would start putting things in place to acquire this airplane. But when I have it on my list and it's an arbitrary thing sometime in the future, maybe it would kind of be cool, it's really not going to get me any closer. I think this applies for those big examples like an airplane, just as much as it does for smaller examples. If somebody says, I have a goal for my business to do this amount, or grow by this much, or be super successful and, all of this, unless you can create a clear picture in your head of what that looks like, I don't know that it's possible to get there. I do think if we have an intention, and it's a big lofty goal, and we haven't necessarily identified it, I think we have identified a direction that we'd like to go, which is why, in a lot of cases, your business will grow, and things will come together so that you'll be more successful than you were before. But in terms of defining kind of what that really looks like, I don't think we really get it until we really know what it looks like. My goal could be for more traveling, which is great. And it could be for more traveling on my own plane, which is great. But realistically, as things come up that I'd like to do and places that I'd like to travel to, each time that happens is when I make the decision. Not a lump sum, I'm going to buy a plane tomorrow. That's just not realistic. And with goals and aspirations and intentions, I think we are at odds with ourselves. And we're at odds with ourselves because of our social dream programming. And when I refer to social dream programming, I'm talking about the box or the set of mailboxes or the set of filters that we create in our mind so we can understand the world and understand the way that the world works. So in that social dream programming, depending on what your culture, what your upbringing, what your parents were like, what your teachers were like, you have your own unique set of social dream programming. And maybe it says that you're supposed to, and social dream programming has a lot of supposed tos. So you're supposed to go to school and then go to college and then get a job. And after you've worked at a job for a certain amount of time, then you are able to save some money. And then after you've saved some money, then you can decide to go on vacation, or you can travel after you retire. Whatever that social dream box looks like, it is so hard for us to wrap our minds around things being different or things being possible outside of that social dream box. I know when I was growing up, and this is no fault of my parents, but when I was growing up, my social dream box did not include, one day I'm going to own an airplane. It just didn't. It included a lot of other things, and it included a lot of assumptions, I think on my part, about what I was supposed to do and what my life was supposed to look like. And in some of those assumptions were the reverse assumptions. Right, that's not going to make the list. So as a kid, I didn't consciously think, oh, an airplane can't be on my list. But by default, it was excluded. I think we would be doing our children a service, and I think we'd be doing ourselves a greater service if we helped make conscious decisions about how to plan that social dream box. When a 5-year-old says they want to be an astronaut, we might look at them and say, oh, sure, how many people actually become an astronaut? And, the odds are stacked against you. Or we could look at that 5-year-old and we could say, you are absolutely right. You can become an astronaut. It's a lot easier for me to look at a 5-year-old and know that I can empower them into their own social dream box versus trying to reprogram myself as an adult. And the thing is, I already know better. I know that it's possible. But I know that it's possible, and every time that I know it's possible, I default into my old patterns of thinking, which say, well, I know it's possible, but prove it to me. Show me something. Let me believe it. Because there's a certain amount of unseen assumptions that go with this. So what's the point of this story? The point of the story is I was pondering today what my goals and intentions are moving forward in my life and in my business. What do I want more of, and what's on my list? And I was thinking, well, an airplane's on my list. But then when I broke it down, I realized an airplane is not on my list right now. And if it becomes relevant to me at some day, then probably it will be on my list. Or if any of my friends are listening to this and you just happen to come across an incredible deal on an airplane, or you want to go in on one with me, well, maybe it'll become more relevant to me sooner versus later. I think that I would like to empower people to let go of holding on to arbitrary dreams just because you think you're supposed to have something lofty to put on the list. It is perfectly relevant and perfectly legitimate to say I'd like my business to do more this year, and I would like my life to prosper and continue to grow the way that it is. But I don't need a vacation home right now, and I don't need an airplane right now, and I don't need, whatever those things are. If they came along, of course I'd take them. But your goals don't have to be huge and lofty. They can be happy and balanced and easy. So keep that in mind. The next time you're putting arbitrary pressure on you that your life is supposed to be something that it's not, or you're supposed to have something that you're not. Be and have exactly what you have, and be who you are being. And when new opportunities present themselves, think about them one by one and make decisions that way instead of chasing after an arbitrary list of things that don't have relevance. That's what I think.